What's up, everybody? Heck, Kelly here, fresh from my trip that I made out to Glendale, Arizona, as I was in attendance for the Bam Rodriguez Sonny Edwards huge mega fight, mega unification fight, and what a scene, what an atmosphere! It was such a fun event. I had such a great time, and it was great, man. I mean, through and through, the congratulations to the matchmakers, because every single one of these fights was just hands down impressive. I say congratulations to the matchmakers because they were such even fights through and through, all the way leading up from the very first card, the opening card, the opening matchup, all the way to the main event. It was a you pick 'em type of night, and you ended up having these shocking moments throughout the night from fight one all the way to the main event, because one fighter just happened to outshine the other, and in magnificent fashion at that. I mean, from the opening card, there were knockdowns. I think 3 knockdowns in the opening card where Joe McGrail ends up dropping Edgar Ortiz Jr. and then stopping him eventually in round 2 by an accumulation of body punches. From there, we moved on to a fight that ended up incurring quite a bit of hype between the two, and that was Junaid Boston against Gordy Russ the second, and Junaid Boston came away with the unanimous decision win. The coaches ended up fighting. Gordy Russ, his father, of course, in his corner, ended up fighting Junaid Boston's trainer, which I believe is Grant Smith, also Sonny's trainer. They ended up getting in a little bit of a scuffle after Friday, after the press conference and the weigh-ins, and so that ended up building to the hype and the disdain for these two. I think it was actually Thursday at the conclusion of the press conference, and then Friday by the weigh-ins, they ended up exchanging some words, but kept their distance. So I think it was actually Thursday at the final press conference. So both of these fighters just went after each other, and it was a fun you pick 'em type fight. Junaid Boston came away with the unanimous decision win. From there, the one that I think stole the night and stole the attention of everybody, that actually woke everybody up, because we were in such a rhythm of a back and forth flow, as the fights or the fights that had taken place had already set the pace for the night, with the ebb and flow and the rhythm. And then we got Peter McGrail against Jericho Quinn, a fight in which Jericho was down. This was a fight at 122 pounds. Jericho was down on the cards, went down twice. Peter McGrail he's a really fast-handed, accurate, I guess is accurate or precise, however you want to define Peter McGrail. He's such a good counterpuncher and such an accurate counterpuncher with good pop in his hands that he just kept hurting Jericho O'Quinn, and dropped them in round 2, dropped them in round 4. O'Quinn down on the cards, not just down in the matchup, but down on the cards as we entered the 5th round. And it looked, and I'm no exception to it, I believe the general consensus throughout the arena was that Jericho O'Quinn was about to get stopped. And in that 5th round, Peter McGrail is hitting him, just grilling him with some nasty punches from all angles, just trying to put the stoppage. And I think the general consensus was that we were going to see Jericho Quinn either not answer the bell or be stopped. But it definitely looked like he was going to get dropped again. And then as the 5th round is dwindling down, he finally played Peter McGrail's aggressiveness and style against him. He turned McGrail's advantage into his disadvantage, which in turn translated to a knockout loss for Peter McGrail. It got everybody off their seats. The arena was loud when that took place, and loud in awe, because nobody expected it. O'Quinn down on the cards, down twice in the fight, getting grilled in the 5th. But his heart was not going to let him down. too much heart, too much spirit, too much grit, gets grilled with the right hand, pushing O'Quinn against the ropes, to which he partially got hit and is partially bouncing off the ropes, and just lunges a whiplash of a right hand, a looping right hand that landed straight on the button of Peter McGrail. Lands perfectly and drops McGrail, to which McGrail was down and out, did not answer the count, face down on the skirt of the ring, beneath the bottom rope, to which the referee immediately tended to, and Jericho O'Quinn came with the knockout of the night and the surprise of the entire card. Again, very good matchmaking. We didn't know how this fight was going to go, and Peter McGrail quickly set the pace, set the rhythm, set the flow of the fight, took control, and was en route to taking O'Quinn out of the fight. But that determination of Jericho, just that intuitiveness that he had, and the fact that he just stuck with it, just stuck with the process, stuck with the game plan, and just trying to figure out and find an opening. And when he did find it, he executed. And he stopped the opponent. That's as much of a Rocky story as you could ever imagine. As perfect of an ending as you could set for any fighter who believes that they're down and out, but refuses to give up on themselves and comes away with that emphatic knockout of Peter McGrail. Jericho O'Quinn improves to 17-1-1 now, 1 loss, 1 draw. He was stopped in 1 round by Saul Sanchez back in 2021. And since then, including this past Saturday, he is on a current 3-fight win streak. He was on a 2-fight win streak, both by unanimous decisions leading to Saturday. Now he's got a knockout to his name. So 9 knockouts in total for Jericho O'Quinn. And he continues on the up and up. Young fighter from Detroit, Michigan. I had a chance to actually take a picture with them and meet them briefly. And what a pleasure and what an honor, because, man, that's exactly what you want out of these fighters. As a fan, you want to see the heart and determination, the dream, the emotion that they carry on their sleeves, on their gloves, per se, and just leave it all out there, and to come away with such a win as and in the fashion in which Jericho O'Quinn pulled off. Of course, you want to congratulate him if you have a chance, and I did, and he was graceful enough to walk over and take a picture with me prior to his exiting the arena, and I couldn't be happier for that. From there, I mean, man, the event was delivering. We still had 3 fights left after that one. We moved on to the GALLO UNIFIES and Rocco Santomauro. That was a really interesting fight because, of course, the favorite was UNIFIES, and he looked that way. Rocco Santomauro is just a gritty, stand and bang type of fighter, and he's going to make you earn every single punch, every inch of the ring. And he was there. He was trying to counter, but right off from the onset, you knew that GALLO UNIFIES was too fast for Rocco. Too fast, and the angles in which UNIFIES was attacking him was just, it continued to catch Santomauro off guard, and he was just a step behind. He just couldn't keep up. He just didn't have what it took to have beat GALLO, except if he landed something like what O'Quinn landed on McGrail, with the shock type of punch. Now, Where's the negative in this fight? UNIFIES dominated this fight from the onset. But he couldn't get rid of Rocco Santamato. By round 5, round 6, Rocco continues to push forward, starts landing punches, landing uppercuts, landing hooks. He starts marking up UNIFIES, and UNIFIES continues to pepper him, but does not eliminate him, cannot execute, cannot put the finishing touches on Rocco. And it ended up finishing up. It went all the way, and he walks away with a unanimous decision win over Santamato, an opponent that he had dominated from beginning to about the mid to late rounds, but could not put him away. UNIFIES was looking to send the message so he could get himself into potentially facing one of the winners of the main event between Bam and Sonny, that is. And of course, if Sonny was to walk away with the victory, which we're going to talk about here sooner, then a big fight was looming between UNIFIES and Sonny out in England. It could still happen. It could still happen. But in my opinion, that was a negative note that I had on UNIFIES, and kudos to Santamato, because what a hell of a chin, and what a hell of an effort to not be put down and not be put out. He fought all the way to the end, and he's a fun fighter. That's gonna give headaches to anybody that he's in the ring with. From there, we moved on to the co-main event, and that was between Muro and the experienced Kevin Gonzalez. He was undefeated coming into this. A rough, stand and bang, gritty, grind out type of fighter, Kevin Gonzalez. This is your traditional Mexican style fighter that is just come forward, punches and bunches, and the accumulation and the wear that the onslaught of Kevin Gonzalez is what has brought him so much success up to this fight. But he ran into a more experienced, more refined boxer in Muro, a former champion, former unified champion in Muro. Remember, he dropped the titles to Marlon Tapales. And a lot of it is due because he started slow in that fight. And by the time that he started making up and waking up in the latter half of the fight, it was too late. And Tapales ended up getting the nod over Muro. And now he's going to be going into that fight against Inoue in a few days' time. A big unification fight against Inoue for all 4 titles at 122. Muro trying to get himself back into title contention. And he needed this win. This is a WBA title eliminator. And he got it. He got it in awesome fashion. Kevin Gonzalez was not going away. Kevin Gonzalez was there to stay. He was just throwing everything at Muro. And Muro just kept coming. Akmadhaliev stops Gonzalez. TKO win for him, round 8. Wins the eliminator and is now going to be tuned in, like most of us will, when the Inoue-Tapales fight happens, because should Tapales lift the titles from Inoue, hand him a loss, become the undisputed at 122, the first person in line, is going to be the rematch with Akmadhaliev, with Muro. So he's going to be biting his nails when that matchup comes to see if he's going to be able to fight Inoue, or because word is that if Inoue becomes undisputed, he'll continue moving up. He's en route to legacy. He's en route to make history. He is the 9th fighter to become undisputed in this 4-belt era, as he accomplished it, or when he accomplished it at 118. Now that was a year ago in December when he ended up completing the feat last December of 22 when he defeated Paul Butler. And here he is a year later looking to cement his legacy one division north at 122. And should he be successful, holy crap, what a history that this guy is laying for himself, and what a legacy that he's leaving in place. And word is that he wants to continue moving up and head up to 126 next, where you have former champs like Brandon Figueroa. You had Robeisy Ramirez basically waiting for him, but he got dethroned recently by Divino Espinosa. You have people waiting for him at 126, but Divino kind of shook up the division. You have El Venado, who's a champ. So who knows what Inoue will do. But you know that if Tapales wins, and it's not an immediate rematch with Inoue, first up is going to be Muro, or next up, and that'll be the rematch between him and Muro. So that'll be fun to watch. We'll be keeping an eye on that fight. What a hell of a performance by Akmadhaliev. That's what he needed. He needed to let everybody know, like, I'm here. I need those titles back. And maybe, just maybe, we could get a fight between Akmadhaliev against Stephen Fulton, against Cowboy Steph, as they await for their next matchup. That would be cool. They didn't get to do it for the titles and unify the division, but maybe they could still get that fight on for the fans. Still a meaningful fight for both. From there, we moved on to the main event between Jesse Bam Rodriguez and Sonny Showtime Edwards, a fight that we were looking forward to for so long. And I'll tell you this, the fight delivered. The fight lived up to the hype and then some. We had no idea what we were going to run into, but if you hold me accountable, if you listened to my preview episode, I said that there was 2 ways that Bam could win this fight, either by decision or by stoppage. For Sonny, I saw him outpointing, outscoring Bam, and winning this by decision. Was the only way that I saw Sonny winning this. He could only win by decision in my eyes, and that means that he needed to box, outpoint, outscore, and cruise to a victory, which was a lot harder said than done, but doable with the talent that Sonny Edwards possesses. Bam, should he win, I saw him winning and pulling off the victory by stoppage or decision. 2 paths to victory for Bam, only one that I saw for Sonny. Why didn't I see Sonny stopping Bam? Well, because he has 4 knockouts to his record, to his perfect record. He walked in with a 20-0 record, only 4 knockouts, which means he punches, he has good pop, but not stopping power. Bam's 18 wins. 11 of those wins came by way of the fast lane. He defeated Sonny Edwards, stopped Sonny Edwards, dropped Sonny Edwards, and now has his 19th victory, has handed Sonny Edwards the first blemish of his record. This is the 12th knockout of Bam's career. And a whole new narrative has opened up. And he put an end to the narrative going into the fight. That being what Sonny was claiming, that Bam had not defeated any current champions, but rather had won vacant titles against former champions. While Sonny defeated a champion to get his hand raised and get the title, lifted the title from a champion. That was his claim. Well, now Bam has a current champion, or defeated a champion, to lift this title, and that being Sonny's name added to his resume. He has unified the 112-pound division. And right now, hands down, after this performance that Bam put on, I think the general consensus, I completely agree with this narrative, that this is his best fight to date. His absolute best performance to date. To Sonny Edwards' admission during the post-fight interview, he said the plan was to stick and move and outbox Bam, just like we had called it on the preview episode, just like most were probably, if you were calling it like that, then we were probably on the same page and we were looking at it right. We were analyzing this right. And to Sonny's admission at the post-fight interview in the ring, he says, I tried, I couldn't. Bam's footwork was too fast and too quick for me, to which it forced me to engage. Another thing was, there was a bit of an ego play on behalf of Sonny Edwards, which was the wrong move and the wrong approach. But early on, by the second round, Sonny, towards the end of the first and on the second round, which is the reason why his eye got damaged, he wanted to send the message. He had a point to prove that he could stand and bang and trade with Bam, and it backfired. That was not his game plan. And in that sense, he abandoned a bit of his game plan, which ended up costing him massively. Because Bam was so accurate with that right hand that he damaged Sonny's left eye from the second round on. To Sonny's admission, he began to have vision problems after the second round. I get it. As a boxer, a lot of times people will discredit. Think about what we just experienced with Shakur and Edwin de los Santos, where it was a snooze fest. He pulled out the decision victory by just having done more and been more active than Edwin de los Santos, but there was really nothing of meaning. Yet he cruised to the victory and got a title now. And a lot of times the fans, yes, we will get upset because that's not what we're expecting these top high-profile fighters to do and perform like. But he was safe in the way that he got the victory and ended up with a title. And this may not have been the fight that Sonny wanted, but it's the fight that Sonny needed to make. Get Bam off his rhythm, make it a boring fight, make him fight your style, make him chase you, and you outland him from the outside. Easier said than done, because although it sounds like in a perfect scenario, this was the way and the path to Sonny's victory, we just said it. Sonny said it. Bam's footwork was too quick and he was too fast, too good for him. He was moving in at will, finding his target, and he was very good. Bam started very good and very quick, dating back to the first round where he started attacking the body to drop Sonny's guard and start looping those hooks, start sneaking those hooks upwards. And because he was finding success, that caused Sonny to want to set him back and hold him in his tracks and start exchanging with them a little bit. And it played into Bam's plan. It played into Bam's strategy. It was an awesome display of talent, an awesome display of boxing at its highest pedigree, a chess match at its best. And Sonny had numerous highlights to his credit during the fight, but the accumulation of damage and wear and tear that he was incurring and he was experiencing throughout the fight, it was just too much for him to overcome down the stretch. Round 5 was another big round where Sonny landed some really big punches on Bam. But every counter that Bam had seemed to land stronger and stronger. And it seemed like his punches were hurting Sonny more than what Sonny was doing to Bam. The more Sonny hit Bam, the more alive Bam looked. And kept wanting more and coming after him, to where Sonny was wearing down due to accumulation of damage. By round 8, to conclude round 7 and round 8, at the beginning of round 8, his second eye was damaged and cut. Now he had damage to both eyes, vision problems. He was slowing down. He was welcoming the fight whenever he was on the ropes because his pride was not going to let him down. His fighting spirit was not going to let him down, and he was swinging for the fences, trying to stop Bam in his tracks, but he just wasn't able to. We get into round 9, and Bam just comes like a train, like a freight train, and eventually lands such a strong punch that lands right on the button, right on the chin of Sonny, head on. Just straight down barrel, catches him on the front of the chin, to which Sonny goes down. Drops on his knees, gloves down, and eventually continues to slide forward because of his momentum, breaking the fall with his face. He was a stumbling mess, but answered the count, made it to his corner, but was unable to answer the bell. His corner deemed that it was too much, and the fight was stopped prior to round 10 starting. The arena went crazy, and Bam became a unified champion. No question as to whether there should be a rematch. These two may very well run down and run into each other in the future, maybe at 115, but there's no controversy, no question here as to who the better man was on Saturday. Bam's best performance to date. His plan leading up to the fight, and it seems like that's the way that it's going. He's going to vacate these titles. He conquered these 2 titles, but he's going to vacate. And he's going to move up to 115 to challenge for his old WBC title and challenge none other than Gallo Estrada, another one of the major 4 between Chocolatito, Cuadras, Rungvisai, and Gallo. This would be the 3rd of the 4 big names that Bam's going to take on. He stopped Rungvisai. He decisioned Cuadras in that same arena. And now he's going for Gallo Estrada. He says a fight with Chocolatito is not really in his interest, is not really in his sights, because of the respect that he has for Chocolatito and the personal relationship he has with him. But first he has to get past Gallo, and he's going to challenge Gallo. And there's some disdain between the two because Gallo has never really been impressed with Bam's past performances, including this past Saturday. There was an interview where Gallo stated that he was not really impressed with what Bam had done. Gallo Estrada is a different animal. That's a different beast. And he's been in some wars. Old guard versus new guard. As weird as that is to say, because Gallo has been the new guard. And he's just been in so many wars. He's been around for a while. And he does not fail to impress. So that's what we have to look forward to in 2024. Jesse Rodriguez versus Gallo Estrada. And if that fight does come to fruition, what a showdown that's going to be. And I wouldn't put past Bam if he does manage to stop Gallo. Or at the minimum, get the decision not over him if he manages to beat him. Because can you really put anything past Bam right now? If he is to stay at 112, which is not likely, do you really think, and it sucks because I don't want to put these two champs down, but Artem Dalakyan, does he have a chance with Bam? No. I think he's the weaker of the four champs. And I think Sonny should take that route, go after Dalakyan, get that title. What about Julio Cesar Martinez? He's going to stand and bang with Bam. But you got a smarter boxer versus a brawler. In Martinez. I think Bam would be, he's the best champ at 112. I don't think Martinez would have more than 4 rounds with Bam. I think Bam would stop him a lot quicker. McWilliams Arroyo managed to drop Martinez. I like Martinez. He's a hell of a fight for anybody. And it would be one of those Hagler-Hearns type fights where it's just, they just throw everything at one another until somebody emerges victorious. 4 or 5 rounds, it would be a slugfest, but I think Bam would still outpoint and stop Martinez. Same for Dalakyan. And he just lifted the title from Sonny. So, yeah, if he goes up and challenges Gallo, he's challenging himself. He's creating a rich boxing history and leaving an awesome boxing legacy that he's generating for himself. And if he takes on Gallo, the only other one to take on would be Chocolatito at that point. And well, let's get there first. But that's the fight that's looming for 2024 for us fans. Gallo Estrada against Bam Rodriguez. What an amazing atmosphere, amazing scene. And without a doubt, Phoenix is starting to become, or at least, well, yeah, we could say the Phoenix market because there's fights that have been hosted in different arenas. It's becoming a fight hub in America. It used to be a smaller market, but that was massive what was there. And of course, it was a perfect weekend because the San Francisco 49ers were in-house to play the Cardinals, and the fan base there was insane. There were so many 49er jerseys. It wasn't just a dozen or 24 jerseys that I saw. There was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people walking around Westgate, which is where the Desert Diamond Arena is at in Glendale. Just a sea of 49ers jerseys that traveled to witness that game on Sunday. We met people from Canada that came in for the game. And of course, there was a lot of that fan base that ended up making it to the arena to watch the fights. And for the fights, you had people from a big, large fan base that traveled from the UK to come see Sonny Edwards. Phoenix is becoming one of the biggest markets in boxing. The UFC sells out whenever they're here, whenever they show up to that arena. And boxing has a constant home now as it relates to the Glendale, especially that arena, the Desert Diamond Arena. And that Westgate area is just a hell of a scene whenever boxing happens. A year ago, Gallo Estrada and Chocolatito faced off against one another, and I also had the opportunity to make a trip and be present and be in attendance that night, and that was another great night for boxing. So chances are that we will see Gallo and Bam in that very same arena. And if so, I will do everything possible to be back there and attend the event live. With that said, thank you guys so much. There was so much love on Saturday. It's good to talk to a lot of people. A lot of people that follow the show, that were talking to me about certain episodes in person that I ran into. Awesome scene, awesome time, a pleasure to be out there, and a pleasure to have witnessed this in person. I thank you all for continuing to tune in to the Toma Todito Boxing Show, and I wish you all a safe and happy good night. Take care.